Okay. Now, as a relationship expert, I want to share this with you as well. Here's something else that does not ever make sense to me concerning you. I'd be watching this TV show called Caught in the Act by this lady named Tammy in Georgia. And I'll share this briefly with you all. I'm Gabrielle Welcome. Like every couple on there that's suspicious about the person they're involved with and sinning with, having sex with, shacking up with, that they're not married to, they have Tammy go and investigate and spy on them to see if they're cheating. And as usual, all of them do be cheating. And what's funny to me is none of these relationships are godly relationships. None of them serve God, obey God, don't consider God. They don't regard God. They may believe in God. But the funny thing is the people who are having her investigate and spy on their partner to see if they're cheating before they marry them and before they move forward and get serious with them. The funny part is neither one of them are in God's will. That's what's interesting. They're expecting someone who they chose to go to desperate measures to be loved, quote unquote, to treat them the way love goes. And this person is not in God's will either. So they're toxic themselves, expecting another toxic person, individual with a severe identity crisis, either like theirs or worse than theirs, demonically, to be something to them that neither one of them are, which is love. Here we go again. That's stupidity. That's insanity, and I'm going to tell you why. And that's straight foolery. And that means a person like that is very delusional. Something is really mentally wrong with the individual and adult. When you yourself not serving and obeying God, not letting God work on you in your singleness to get to the roots of the rotten fruit of you. Thank you, Holy Ghost. The rotten fruit of you. These rotten manifestations that's coming out of you that's not your God-given identity. When you yourself won't even get in a relationship with God and let him first love on you unconditionally so that you can begin to love yourself first in self-care, selflessly, and then love others and be loved to others. And you go and you choose to go to desperate measures to choose someone with your imperfect, demonically in bondage self with a severe identity crisis, and then you go and come into agreement with another toxic, mentally unhealthy, mentally unstable, emotionally unhealthy, emotionally unstable, lust-filled, narcissistic-filled, prideful, suffering with a severe identity crisis just like yours or more severe, no relationship with God individual, don't even consider God, haven't even asked you to join them and start over with God before they get in a relationship with you, to let God both first work on you individually as singles. And you have sex with this person repeatedly, doing freaky stuff, opening up doors to sex demons, incubus and succubus, spirit spouses, spirit husband, spirit wife. Not only are you naturally having sex with each other, but in the realm of the spirit, demons are also having sex with both of you because you're out of God's will. You both are opening portals to demons and Satan's kingdom. And love is nowhere in the midst of that. Now, the crazy part is because you have formed an ungodly soul tie with this person and their bloodline demons and their bloodline and vice versa, this ungodly soul tie got you thinking you love this person or in love with this person, and love is nowhere to be found in this because, first of all, love dwells in pure places, pure vessels, vessels who are love. See, you got to face the truth in your singleness that because you was never loved on by whoever raised you, you actually are not in love with that person. You don't love them. You just are suffering and in a delusion from a severe identity crisis, and you, because they accept you and they're there with you, they smoke weed with you, or they, they take you out on dates and on dinner dates and they spend a night with you and y'all live together. You think you love this person. No. It's called an ungodly soul tie. Love is not there. And you think, and because you don't had a child with this person, good God, that even made the ungodly soul tie worse, more powerful. So now God has to get involved if you will allow him to sever that ungodly soul tie so you can see beyond your carnality and your fleshly lifestyle, that actually love never was there. You never loved this person. You were in a delusional and probably whipped by what's between their legs because you had sex with this person and you're not married to them. And so you have become one with this person in the soul and in the spiritual realm and with their bloodlines and vice versa. And you think you're in love, and actually, no, you're not. You are fooled by an ungodly soul tie, ungodly soul tie. And see, here's my thing with a lot of you. And it really is foolish, and you look really bad out here in these streets on these TV shows when you yourself ain't even letting God work on you in your singleness. And you out here putting the cart before the horse. You putting Z before A when the alphabet starts with A and ends with Z. You doing things backwardly. You're not even doing them biblically. You ain't even choosing to study the word of God, the Bible, and see what does God say about your lifestyle. How you going about it? And what does he say love is? It's 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. You ain't considering God in nothing. And the sad part is y'all don't even ask God first. God already be showing us red flags and warning signs. You ain't even went to God and say, did you send this person in my life? You already be knowing God didn't send them. You ain't even considering God. But then you all want to consider God once you get an STD, sexually transmitted disease, or once you find out they cheating on you with somebody who's close to you, or cheating period, or once you get your heart broken, or you get pregnant or whatever like that, or you abort the baby, or twins, or whatever happened. And then the sad part is you get this person another chance and things get worse. This time he breaks your nose, or she stabs you. This time y'all both go to jail, or this time it costs you your life, or you lost somebody who gave a toxic person the wrong chance who they shouldn't have been dealing with. People who go to desperate measures just to be accepted have a severe identity crisis, and you're one of those people. You may not want to verbally say it, but your actions are showing it. Anytime you're willing to stoop so low and bow down to someone that Satan sends in your life, God did not send. They're not even close to God. They don't consider God. They don't even consider themselves. They don't love God. They're not letting God love them. They don't love you. They don't love themselves. So why would you choose to come into agreement with something like that? That is straight from the pit of hell. That's from Satan. That is one of Satan's children at the moment. If they wanted to be a son of God, whether male or female, because gender does not dwell up there with God. If they wanted to be a son of God, they would have went through God to get to you. And the problem with you that I want you to consider is, why do you choose to come into agreement with functioning like a doormat or a doorknob for somebody to be in your life? You need to go to God and let him help you face you, while you so desperately are willing to lose pieces and parts of you just for somebody to accept you and be there with you, who don't even love themselves, don't love God, and don't love you. They don't even love the child that you chose to get pregnant with them by and came through you. Why do you think they wasn't even there when the baby was born? Why do you think they didn't care to know when the baby was coming? You gotta let God help you. I mean, that's I'm gonna be honest with you, that's insanity, first of all, of you. And then secondly, stupidity of you to sit up there, wonder why the same stuff keep happening to you demonically when you get in a relationship with toxic folks, whether male or female, out of God's will. You're in sin. You're doing oral sex with this person. You're doing menage a trois, having an open relationship, an open marriage. You're doing all this backward stuff with this person. You're living with this person. You're not married to him. You didn't first ask God because you already knew you're wrong and out of the will of God. You didn't consider God. You didn't first go to God and seek God and say, expose this person to me, reveal them to me. You just disregard God, but then you want to come to God and want him to be obligated after you chose to live a fornicated, adulterated, demonically penetrated lifestyle with someone who God did not send. Satan sent them because you won't go to God and let him work on you in your singleness. And let God first unconditionally love on you so that you can begin to love you and also be loved to others too, while guarding your heart and still protecting you from a healed place within you from God. I really think that's insane what you choose to do. I don't feel sorry for those of you adults who you don't choose to let God help you learn from your first mistake of going to desperate measures to be loved. If you don't choose to learn from your first time making that mistake and you keep doing it with the same person or with different people plus your ex, I don't feel sorry for you on how Satan gonna tear you up and what's coming to you, because you won't just listen to God. You won't let God help you. You won't let God unconditionally love on you and do the work that's needed within you first. Because actually, relationships is not the problem. It's you. The issue is, it's you. I once heard a spiritual mother say that around me one time. She said, you know what the issue is? It's you. And so I say that to you, beloved. The issue is you. Until you let God dwell within you and stop letting a severe identity crisis, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, insecurities dwell within you, you're going to bring on you unnecessary demonic manifestations too. But the choice is on you. God ain't going to make you. Satan ain't going to make you. And the people who you keep getting relationships, demonic contracts and demonic relationships with, they ain't making you either. You're attracting those kind of people because you won't let God work on you. When you begin to let God dwell in you and work on you, the people you attract will change too. Until next time, it's your girl Gabrielle. If you want a suitable partner, someone who is love, who has let God work on them and is letting God work on them every day, and they have a personal relationship with God and they're in God's will, you got to get out of your will and let God realign you in his will. Because for you to keep dealing with people who are in gangs, they hang out in the streets all types of the night during the midnight hours when the heaviest ranking demons are released. They out there around other fleshly dominated vessels and souls and adults doing sinful natured things, and it ain't of God. And they out there in the strip clubs, hanging out in the clubs. All they do is smoke and drink, filthy language, cuss words, profanity, pants sagging, mouthful of gold grills, spitting everywhere, being disrespectful. Don't pray. They don't see God. They don't consider God. They don't consider themselves. They don't consider you. They hang with bad company. You don't know what they're doing. You got a feeling God is revealing stuff to you. If that's what you're going to keep getting involved with, then you're not going to ever be able to experience what God has for you. That it makes no sense for you to complain and give the wrong advice about love and stuff when you're not choosing to come to the one who is love, which is God, and let him work on you. Because in God's will is someone who's anointed and qualified by God. They don't bow down to Satan or come into agreement or settle with things in the lies and manipulations and deceits and temptations of Satan. They're not simpleton. They don't have a simpleton mindset anymore. They are filled with godly wisdom and understanding. They allow God to dwell within them, and they love the presence of God. They don't love the presence of demons or Satan, and they will not break their covenant vows and oath with God or their marriage with God, and they will not do things to draw you away or pull you away from God. They're going to do things to hold you accountable and push you closer to God, and with love, and call you out on your ways that you know better to do in love. And they're going to seek God first concerning you. They're not just going to let you easily in their life. They're going to discern you and see what God has to say about you too. That's someone who you should be opening up to and allowing God to present to you. But the choice is up to you. The choice is up to you. Because first of all, when you choose to deal with people of the world and get relationships with people of the world that's in sin, and their flesh is their dictatorship, their flesh is their God, because God said no good things dwells in the flesh. So when their flesh is their dictator and their flesh is the dominant ruler, that means Satan is their father at the moment. Until they choose to come out of agreement and renounce sin and come out of agreement with Satan and come into agreement with God's will, not Satan's will, then that's different. But when you're choosing to deal with people in the world who their flesh is their dictator and their dominator, and they have a carnal lifestyle, and they don't have a personal relationship with God, and they're not even letting God work on them, then no good thing will you get out of that. You're not going to get love. There is no love in them. To be loved, you have to first experience unconditional love from the one who is love, and that's capital G-O-D, God. I'm your girl, Gabrielle. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. Respectfully, it's all in LOVE. I'm just saying, think about it. Use your common sense come out of stupidity and foolery and a simpleton mindset. Receive God's wisdom and his understanding. Because he said, with all thy getting, get an understanding. And he said, get his wisdom. And with all thy getting, get an understanding. That's your problem. When you do things backwards in your flesh according to your own understanding, which God says, lean not to your own understanding, but acknowledge him and he will direct your path, you'll begin to experience someone, if you desire a godly marriage, because there is a difference. In a godly marriage, who fears God and reverentially respects God and will not sin against God with things they know better to do, that God hates. They hate what God hates. They love what God loves. So when you choose to get a personal relationship with God and let him have his way and get out of your own way and others' way and let God have his way and get his will out of your will, out of a demonic, satanic, carnal, fleshly will, religious will, then you can begin to experience why God created his institution called marriage. And you can have a suitable partner too. But the choice is up to you. And right now, if you're choosing to get in relationships with people in the world who are not in God's will, then what did you think was going to come to you? Heartbreak, diseases, spiritually transmitted demons, more curses, demonic manifestations of things you've never seen in your dreams, cheating, abuse, domestic violence cases, restraining orders, narcissism, demonic arguments, debates, and fusses, and the list goes on and on when you deal with people in the world who don't have a relationship with God, and it's not allowing God to work on them either, and it's not in God's will. What did you think? Anything and anyone that's not in God's will is not for your good, period. So until you choose to get in God's will, you're not going to get the benefits of what's in God's will, even concerning love. Again, I'm Gabrielle. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free, respectfully, privately, or publicly. It's all in LOVE. Just thought I'll share that with you from my heart to yours. Until next time.